one thing I did find out about this industry is it's a lot of secrets. Nobody wants to work with each other. And if we do, if providers work with each other better, we can have fairer rates with the brokers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to NEMT Expert Talks. I'm Bambi CEO Nirav Chheda, and I am with the owner of Premier Transit, Derrick Edwards. Derrick, how you doing?
Awesome. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Derrick, you do an incredible job at branding and marketing your NEMT business. In case it's not obvious, I mean, look at your background right now, right?
Right.
I want you to tell your story. You started this NEMT company not too long ago, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you're in Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You operate with how many vehicles?
6 vehicles.
Okay. And when did you start the business?
We started, it'll be 2 years in March of this year, of this year.
Okay. So just under 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the story on how you decided to get into NEMT and the story of starting Premier Transit.
Okay. Well, first of all, I do have a transportation background. I'm a former military guy. I was in transportation management. After the military, I managed U-Haul companies of Alabama, trained. I was vice president of the company for a while. Then I branched off and started doing my own thing. But the last thing I was doing was I was an insurance adjuster, working from home, making a 6-figure salary. But when I went into that position, I went into it with an exit strategy. Didn't quite know what it was going to be, and this kind of just fell in my lap. I spoke with you before about a friend of mine who owns a NEMT, or a transportation company in Montgomery, Alabama. And he would call me periodically and ask me, "Hey, you busy? Can you drop this person off for me, or take this person to this place?" And I would do it because we grew up together, and it'd take me 15, 20 minutes, and he might just throw me $100 or $150 or whatever. So he started to do it more frequently, and I was working from home, so it didn't really matter. So I would just jump up and do it for him just to help him, get his business going. And I started to think, hey man, he calls me a whole lot to do the same type of drop this person to dialysis, take this person to the doctor. And for the amount of time and the amount of money he was paying me, I was thinking, what is he making if he's able to give me this amount for this short period of time? And then I just started to look into it. And once I started to look into what an NEMT business was, because I never thought about it, and having an insurance background, I should have. Once I started to do my research, I think I stayed up like 2 days straight, like figuring out a game plan, and here we are. I just jumped out and just made it happen.
You didn't sleep for 48 hours. Huh?
48 hours, I was on it, up, and my wife would wake up and say, "Go to sleep, come to bed." I'm like, "I am tomorrow," but so I'm just trying to figure out things and just see was this the next move for me. I do have a couple online businesses and they do well, but this business was one that I saw. Actually, we started during COVID. So he would call me during COVID. So once I started going, um, first I thought about, like, let me buy a fleet of vehicles. Then I was like, well, I got a couple vehicles. I'll just use my own vehicles, see if it works. If it works, I'll expand. So, then COVID. It was, 2020, this time of year, it was shut down everywhere. But what I noticed about this business was it was COVID proof. It was pandemic proof. Like, people still had to go to the doctor, still had to go to the dentist, still had to go to dialysis, still had to. It was some appointments that you just couldn't do over Zoom. And so when I recognized that even a pandemic couldn't shut this type of business down, I'm going all in.
I
So
love it.
that's the long short version of how I get to where I am right now.
I love it. So you start the business, and you started in March of 2021.
Right.
And oh, sorry, was it March of 2022?
Well, yeah, 2022. Yeah,
Yeah.
2022. Mhm.
Okay. So you start this business in March of 2022, and you start with how many vehicles at the time?
I started with 2 vehicles,
Okay.
2 ambulatory vehicles. I took my personal SUV, which was a 2015 Audi Q7, and my Audi car, my wife's car. She had a small Audi A4, and we started a business with that.
And those were ambulatory vehicles.
Yeah, strictly ambulatory.
Okay.
Now, in hindsight, if I had a little more guidance, I probably would have used one of those vehicles, but I definitely would have got into the wheelchair market like immediately because the revenue is just it's at least double, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, and the thing about it is you can use the right type of wheelchair van can also serve as ambulatory. So you can double duty that vehicle.
And now you've got 6 vehicles, and how many of them are wheelchair accessible?
I have 3 wheelchair vans and 3 ambulatory vehicles.
Okay.
The wheelchair vans, I have 2 Dodge Caravans who just have the ramp, and we have a Ford Transit with the lift on it. That also we have stretcher capabilities. So it's ambulatory. We have 3 seats in it. Well, two passenger seats plus the driver. We have a capability to carry a stretcher and have a lift, 800-pound lift on it.
Nice.
And word of advice for the transits or those anything with the lift on it, you don't need the big long ones. Just get the shortest version. They're better for your drivers. They're better on gas, and just easy to handle, easier to handle.
All right.
Mhm.
And you do work largely for private healthcare facilities, right?
Right. So yeah, I use everyone. When I first started, I was just broker driven. I didn't know anything but brokers, and I I'm not going to plug brokers because brokers, they have their way of getting in the way, but they can be used to for your success. Because we use brokers, we use private pay, we use rehab facilities, we what some may call nursing homes. We deal with hospitals, with hospital discharges, and just private health care locations that they are doctors' offices, but they're not live-in facilities. So yeah, a
Okay.
little bit of everything, and also Medicaid, which is we consider that private pay because we directly bill them as well.
Okay. So, Derrick, if you look up and you Google search Premier Transit, right, in Alabama, you get 11 Google ratings, and you have a perfect 5-star review on Google. Like, you just look behind you right now, you got this neon, awesome kick-ass logo right there, right? Like, you are a baller at branding and marketing your business. That's why you've been able to win over all these private pay facility contracts. Can you tell me the story of how you went about, branding and marketing your business?
So with branding and marketing, the first few months that we were out, I would see different companies and I kind of would Google them, check their history, and we'll bump into people because we're going to the same places, same locations. So I would see a lot of stuff that I would say, definitely don't want to do that. May need to add this, but tweak it this way. But what I saw around town was no marketing. And this is not a business where it's not a retail sales business. So you don't need billboards. You don't need a lot of ad space, television commercials. You don't need that. Um, so our motto is you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So to get these contracts, we will put our best foot forward. My only marketing I do is, and we may put a picture up later. I don't know if you will, but our vans are wrapped. You know, we have our logo, we have our website, we have our phone number, and we get so much business from people taking pictures. Or I just saw your van. I got my dad needs to go to the doctor. Blase, blase. So many opportunities come from that. And when I was, when I look up what we're doing over the day, the course of a day, we may have one vehicle that goes 100 miles within the county or outside of the county or 200 miles. You know how that's just a rotating billboard that's on wheels. So we don't spend money on marketing. We market, we wrap our vehicles, we have our ambulatory vehicles with our logo and phone number and website on it, and that's the only marketing we do, and we get tons of calls. That's it right there. We
Right
get tons of calls, right? So, um, so to answer your question, when we go to facilities or locations, we go in with our best foot forward. Drivers or myself, I normally go and do the cold calls or do presentation, but we come in with our uniforms on, our vehicles wrapped and clean. We clean our vehicles every single day, inside and out, because we won't. I got a lot of contracts from people that would ride with other companies, and they would say their vehicles didn't smell good, they were dirty inside, they were dirty outside, and they didn't feel comfortable. And coming from the pandemic, we want people to get in the vehicle and see a fresh, clean, smelling, good vehicle that makes them comfortable.
Hang on, Derrick. I want to emphasize that you clean every single one of your vehicles on the outside and the inside every single day, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How much time does that take from
It-
your staff?
at the end of the day, it's a 15-minute situation. It's not that difficult. We have everything except the transit, because that's the vehicle in the back, because it's so tall that we can't drive it through a car wash. But we have monthly passes where we drive through the car wash every day at the end of the shift. The last person in the vehicle drives it through, and we vacuum it out and we disinfect it. We spray the areas that are not carpet with Lysol, and it don't take long. So that's the last thing you do is clean the vehicle, have it ready to go for the next person in the morning. Make sure it's fueled, make sure it's cleaned, and have it ready to go. It don't take long.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mhm.
And then, so you do the cold calling for, facilities in the nearby, Mobile, Alabama and surrounding area. Like,
Mhm.
do you get warm leads or warm intros? Like, is it often the case that a facility already knows about you before you make that cold call?
Absolutely. So we've had that happen both ways. We had a facility that came in town. That's a national brand. They came in with 3 locations, and they Googled us. They Googled wheelchair transportation in Mobile. Okay. And we're the first person that comes up. We're the only people that comes up that's an NEMT company. And it's amazing that nobody around has a Google presence. That's very important. Your Google presence and your website to represent who you are. Your website should tell who you are. It should have illustrated representations of who you are. Do good copy. Don't just have bad copy and information that's not leading to anywhere. You should be able to apply for positions, schedule rides. Everything should be able to be done on your website. So we did have a company that came in town, and they Googled us, and they were struggling. They for a couple of weeks trying to find rides for their clients, because they provide wheelchair transportation for new clients that they're trying to build. They're trying to build a base. And when they got in touch with us, I showed up. We had a conversation. They gave us a tour. Immediately, they said they liked what they saw in the vehicles and my presentation and our uniforms, and we did a deal. So that was one that happened that way. Some places, we would just go out. I go to, well, let me back up a little bit. One plus of dealing with brokers is sometimes a broker may send you to a rehab facility or a nursing home to pick up someone for discharge, or to pick up someone to take to a doctor's appointment. So then I would introduce myself and ask who's over transportation and do an informal meeting. Sometimes on the spot, sometimes they will ask me to come back. But if you're doing a great job and the clients, the patients there saying, hey, I like this new company that you're dealing with. Their vans are clean, they're courteous, they're helpful. Like, can we ride with them all the time? So when you go there, you kind of have a good a head start in that arena. So visiting like nursing home or rehab locations, never go in and ask for a contract. I know people listening probably will be like, what? You want a contract? That's the quickest way to get kicked out. People are not into commitment. Businesses, companies, CEOs, it's so hard to get through that initial red tape of going in and say, hey, I want you to sign this binding contract and use us exclusively. No. Offer a service agreement that's non-binding. Also, you want to do a service agreement because it's to your advantage, because your rates may change. Gas may go up, or a pandemic may happen, or anything inflation, and you may need to adjust your rates to pay a competitive salary to your drivers and be profitable. So you can also always have in your service agreement that, hey, we'll revisit this next year or 12 months and either re-sign the agreement or make adjustments as needed. So the service agreements, they're non-binding, but they're a way of getting a commitment. And you also want to outline, hey, I expect, if you're doing a net 30, a net 20, twice a month payments, we have a written agreement of these are the services we're going to provide. This is how we're going to submit our invoices. This is when we expect payment. So everybody agrees on what's going on. So service agreements are the best way to get that done. But to get a service agreement, we never go in and ask for a contract. I wouldn't even go in and ask for a service agreement. I would just speak to whoever's over transportation. Even if they have transportation or someone they're using, most of the time they're unhappy with them. And that's what I found in my area. So I would just go in and just say, hey, we don't want to take over, but we would like to stand in the gap. If your transportation company that you're using, or if your van breaks down, if they have their own vehicle, give us a call. We'd like to stand in the gap and help you guys out when you're in a bind. That works, because I gave that spiel and I got back to the office and literally got a call. As soon as I sat down at my desk, they called and said, hey, can you take someone today? So, but I had previously did the service agreement with them, and they changed ownership. So I never started working with them, and I went and revisited them, gave them that same little line. And by the time I got back to the office, they asked me, hey, can you pick someone up today? And now we're the top. They use us all the time. So
This is so interesting, Derrick. I haven't really heard of this. So this thing about the non-binding service agreement, it's like, I mean, from what it seems like the win-win. Like, you're better off than having an actual full exclusive contract with the facility. The facility's better off too. I mean, did you learn this the hard way, or how did you come into this, sort of motion of going straight for the non-binding service agreements?
So I'm a thinker. I'm a research guy. So I try to find out, what works for others. One thing I did find out about this industry is it's a lot of secrets. Nobody wants to work with each other. And if we do, if providers work with each other better, we can have fairer rates with the brokers. But because I don't want this guy to get the contract, or this guy's getting more trips than I am, they're never going to run out of trips. It's enough room for everybody to make a lot of money. So we don't share information as far as like fair rates for wheelchair, fair rates for ambulatory, what's a good rate for stretcher, what's a good rate for a jerry chair. When you're new, you may come in and undercut other people, but you're messing the market up, because the brokers already take over half of the money, right? So if you come in and you don't have experience, and then you don't have anybody to mentor you or show you the way, or have a rate sheet guide or anything to go by, you can come in undercutting everyone else, and then now the brokers want to lower their rates, and that makes it hard to be profitable.
So, Derrick, do you have any advice for, younger NEMT companies, the ones that are just starting out, who are listening to this and say, okay, that makes sense, Derrick. Like, how do I get the mentorship I need to do it right?
Right. So there, everything you need is online. You can find it, but you're gonna have to do some research because you may Google wheelchair rates, and it may give you a rate for California, but you live in Alabama. So you have to kind of find out what's going on in your area. Uh, One tactic I used, and I'm not even ashamed to say it, I would call companies and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a rate on a wheelchair trip. I know someone who needs to go to the doctor. Or what about if they're going out of town? Or what about this? Or I'll throw all the scenarios out of there, and then I'll just kind of figure that out from there. Because when I first came in, I was shooting myself in the foot. I was taking trips for rates that it's funny right now, but we call it bought sense. I bought a lot of sense, but it makes sense now. I didn't do that long, but it's just because I didn't have anyone to give me any guidance, there. So, you have to do your research. You have to do your research, but the information is there to be found. People are gonna try to sell you everything. Everybody got to hustle. Oh, what's a rate for this? And they might sell you a rate sheet that have anything to do with your area. So you just kind of have to do your own research. I wrote my own service agreements. I write my own service agreements. I didn't pay anybody for it because each one is these things are not cookie cutter. So they have to be directed toward your company's model. You know, you know what you pay your drivers. You know what your overhead for your office is. You know what you're trying to make. You know how many vehicles you have. So you have to be fair to yourself, and you have to make sure that whatever agreement that you write, first of all, it's to your advantage. It's to your advantage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Derrick, speaking of online research, you found out about Bambi online, right?
Absolutely, I did.
And you've been using Bambi for I think 2 months now, right? For your business.
Yes, I have.
You want to just quickly, sort of say how you found out about us and what your experience has been using Bambi for your business and your experience with the Bambi team.
All right, I'll be happy to do that. So online, in the beginning of, I'm a big YouTube guy, so I watch a lot of YouTube with things that I'm, researching or trying to find out about. Well, I'm gonna go give this plug to this company, MJ Reliable. Um, those girls are awesome. I really like what they're
Certainly
doing.
are.
They were one of the first people. They don't know this, but they probably will know now that I got a lot of good information from them. A lot of good information. Their videos are so helpful, and I'm subscribed to them. And I just was thinking one day, I was like, man, I hadn't saw a video from them in a while because I have so many subscriptions. And I just opened my phone up one day, and it was a video of them with Bambi. And my wife and we've been talking with like, hey, it's time. We're doing too many trips. We have to get some type of reliable software. And they had you were there, and they had two companies that were using Bambi. Kind of reminded me of myself with their upstart and how they're running their business. And I just kind of watched the video, and that's how I found out about Bambi. So I just Googled it. And no, the link they said at the end of the video was very informative. It kept my attention the whole while. And at the end, I think MJ said the link is in the bio, and I clicked the link and um, sent the my info to Max, and he reached out to me, and I've been riding with you guys ever since. But I have to give my wife a lot of props because we were using Excel. We were using Excel. She came up with a format with Excel that only she could do, and we would plug in all our trips, and it would work so well because we could take that Excel with all our trips on it, and at the end of the month, we wouldn't have to double work. We could just send that as a bill to certain facilities that that we bill every month. But we're doing about 100 trips a week, and I expect to do more because we just bought another van. Um, we we just I mean, business is just going up. But I'm at this point, I'm not even accepting new business because I want the quality of the service to stay the same. We'll get back to that though, but we have people in the wait that are waiting in the wings for us to do service agreements with. So God willing, that'll happen soon. But I knew that we needed to get away from manually doing it. Like I say, I have a transportation background. So when I worked with U-Haul all those years, we used to schedule manually with a pencil, a pad, and write each vehicle and schedule times. So, I knew how to manually do that. And Excel was actually an upgrade from that. But still, at that point, I was like, it was a lot of late nights because I get started early in the morning. And after everybody's gone, I'm in the office 9, 10 o'clock, just trying to make sure everything was in Excel and every driver had their trips for the next day. And I was like, it's time to get a software that's user friendly and that'll work for us. And I did the demo, I did the talk with Max, and I looked at it and I said, well, actually, I saw it on the MJ Reliable's video. I said, this really looks like it's user friendly. Like we can use this. Like the drivers wouldn't, because I have retired people, older people, younger people. Some people just not, they're just not savvy with technology. But the drivers use it well with the app, and it's definitely helping my office. We hired a new dispatch and office person this week, and I kid you not, 24 hours, 48 hours. The next day, that's Tuesday, she was moving all around, moving trips, you know, activating wheel calls, doing. I was like, awesome. Adding trips to the portal, like it's that. It's that. So I'm more efficient with using Bambi. I'm going to add more vehicles this week, and I mean, I've been recommending this software to people in NEMT groups I'm on online. They've been like, "Hey, what kind of software should you use?" And because I've looked at other softwares, I've looked at the Route Genies of the world and these other places. I don't know if you want be saying these different names, but they just didn't impress me. Either they were too complicated or both. Too complicated or definitely too expensive. So Bambi is user friendly and is pocket friendly. So so I was like, I'm gonna give this a try. And I love it. I love it. I love it.
Awesome, Derrick. Well, thanks so much for being with us.
Run, Bambi, run. That's right.
Awesome. Thanks, Derrick.